جاءهم البينات.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
If a person is wearing a job ID card with his picture, and the card is about 1 inch in size, and he stands next to us or behind us in salah, would it affect our salah? This is similar to the previous question. No, brother or sister, it would not affect your salah. It would not invalidate it. Affecting your salah means with regards and respect to invalidating it. It will not nullify your salah. But if it's affecting your salah with regards and respect to distraction and like a bit of withering away your attention and concentration, then that is actually a means of distracting one's salah and his concentration. And this is not a small sin. A lot of people come with flashy clothes, or clothes with animate pictures, or clothes with, like, jerseys, football jerseys people wearing. A lot of scholars do not advise this in salah, in particularly in salah. You have to wear decently so that you can concentrate fully in front of your Almighty. You're having a meeting and a spiritual chat with your Creator. It's a hotline, take it that way. So placing destructive objects or things and elements that will actually divert people's attention and the concentration, these are not accepted. And such a person should remove his job ID card and place it in his pocket, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ikiwa ni tarehe 28 wa mwezi Dhulqaada mwaka 1440 sawia na tarehe 31 mwezi Julai mwaka 2019. Karibu katika Sabah Show, kitengo cha uchambuzi wa magazeti, tukipeperusha katikati mwa jiji la Nairobi, msikiti wa Jamia. Kuanzia saa 2 hadi saa 3 tutaweza kuchambua magazeti, na kuanzia saa 3 hadi saa 4 ni business chat. Na ili kufanikisha kipindi hiki, kawaida siko peke yangu, niko na Odada, niko na Abubakar. Pamoja tutaweza kukujuza mtazamaji masuala yanayochipuka katika magazeti yetu ya leo. Karibuni. Mko na sai kama naona hamu kama hamuja kunywa chai.
Tuko salama.
Mko salama. Tukiangazia gazeti letu la kwanza la Taifa Leo, ukurasa wa kwanza ni kwamba koti ya kanusha baba yao. Kuna masuala mengi kuhusiana na gavana wa Kiambu Ferdinand Waititu, huko akiambiwa asifike ofisini mwake na deputy wake akiweza kuongoza kaunti hiyo. Ni swala ambalo kila kuna mtafaruku. Je, anaweza kuendeleza kwa kiongozi ama itabidi akae kando?
Kama katika maoni ya watu ambao wanafuatilia maneno kuhusu kufuatilia ufisadi, kuhusu vita dhidi ya ufisadi, wakishuku kwamba kuna uwezekano wake kuwa na mambo ya ufisadi hapa na pale, naona ni vyema kwake na kwa jimbo zima kwamba akae kando hadi
until proven guilty.
Until proven guilty. Let me use English. I think in my opinion he should just step aside, because who knows, he has enough powers to influence the research, to influence the investigation. So he should just step aside for the moment.
Abubakar.
Yeah, I think the Director of Public Prosecutions made a good move by taking Waititu to court, investigating him. But I think something that he missed the point was telling him that you are not supposed to step in the offices. And now the issue of policies and laws arises in such that, the person continues to be the governor, but he has been ordered not to go to the office. The person is still the governor, so he can operate from home. He can open a parallel office somewhere. Once Sonko had opened an office in Machakos and was working on matters of the Nairobi County government from Machakos. So I think, yes, the DPP made it right by saying that he shouldn't step into office because of interference with the investigations, but also there is that challenge. So I think, one, politicians in Kenya are so greedy. Do not expect anytime soon Wechito to send a resignation letter. It's hard. So what is happening? We have the County Assembly of Kiambu holding an impeachment motion, and I think if it goes through, then it will be well, because one, we cannot be having corrupt leaders leading us, stealing our money, you know. So I think we leave it to the County Assembly and hope that the impeachment motion will go through if Wechito is guilty of the crime he has been accused of.
If you ask me, there's a difference between someone whose governor has been told to step aside and the case we just said of probably Sonko operating from Machakos. It was, I think I think if the DPP ordered him not to operate as governor, there are probably a number of channels that have been blocked. Who knows? Probably some of his accounts have been frozen. So I don't exactly think he might do as much. And then again, there's a whole idea of people's perspective changing about him. So people are having all eyes on him. I don't think he can actually do a lot as governor now. Probably a few connections here and there, but then again, the whole authority of being governor has been more or less stripped of him. And now his deputy is taking over. And who knows, we both know those politicians are greedy. So I'm sure the deputy governor will ensure he imposes his will as far as his short reign, hoping it's not long, is concerned.
Still on the same topic, on the Standard front page, how Waititu could beat Haji office ban order. Kiambu boss may still have a way around the court order barring him from office, even as his deputy declares himself acting governor. So do you think it is really a solution?
I think, you know, as I said, the case is in court. First, the person, somebody needs to talk to him and try to beg him to resign from the seat, because they know the investigations can be clean, or else somebody has influences still in the government. Because you know what governors do, they put puppet MCAs in the county assemblies who will push anything, any motion that is brought to the county assembly, they will push it through. So Waititu is not any different. He has puppet MCAs in the county assembly who, by the time impeachment motion is coming, they'll go against it, because you know they are working with him.
Like any other leader in Africa, countries in Africa, we don't resign. We usually put someone we can just at least puppet.
Yeah. So I think the county assembly of Kiambu should just do the honors to the whole country and impeach him, because there is no way out of this. The investigations are ongoing, but the person can interfere in the investigations. So he should be impeached so that the investigations done can be clear, and so that if there is a case for him to answer, he should be accountable for
Let's not use the puppet words for our MCAs. Let's look at Daily Nation. United against vote. Almost all political leaders are against the Punguza bill for Third Alliance here, Okuru Court. Is it greed? Is it that they don't believe that it will work, the Punguza bill? Odada.
You see, we don't always analyze things very deeply. If someone read that Punguza Mizigo bill without any prior knowledge about Okuru Court, without any background information, if just any sane individual from say the United States was given the bill to read, they'd outrightly say it's a good bill. But then let's look at it from another perspective. We have a lot of pretense in our politicians. In fact, some people think that it is almost impossible for a politician to do something outrightly out of their own heart. There is always a catch to it. There is always
a hidden agenda.
There's always a hidden agenda. There's always a popularity that will come as a result of that. You know, once in a while you hear Sonko goes with a tank full of milk and gives people. Yeah, it may sound like charity, but come to think of it, look at the timing. So if it were up to me, I would outrightly support the bill. But then, all these guys are politicians. At one point, Okuru Court was siding with with the side that was against the 2017 August election results. Then the next point, he was against siding with the very side that was nullified. So this is a person who, much as he might have the interest of people at heart, but let's say his white shirt is already a little bit too stained.
Abubakar, do you think our politicians are doing a good thing by not supporting the Punguza bill?
One, the politicians not supporting the bill, it's because they'll be disadvantaged if the motion comes to pass.
How?
First, Ekuru Aukot he's an honorable man. He was among the team that was involved in the drafting of the new constitution, which was promulgated in 2010. And the motion, if you read what he's trying to propagate, it's for the interest of people at heart. Now, the politicians are against it because they'll have less positions to vie for. They'll be disadvantaged in terms of salaries and, because if now you reduce the number of members of parliament, it means there are fewer seats for them to vie for and such. So the politicians are thinking about themselves, and on the other hand, you have, I think Ekuru Aukot having the interest of the people at heart, and also the citizens themselves feeling the burden of high taxation to pay people who are some MPs do not talk much in parliament, they do less, you understand? So I think the bill is going down to the county assemblies. These are times that people should be united, not on the basis of, this party or this party. At one time when the opposition, before the handshake, the opposition was kind of strong. And when the opposition pointed out a corruption case from a Jubilee member, all Jubilee MPs will come to defend him. But look at what has happened right now. Our Waitito, a whole governor, a Jubilee governor is facing corruption charges, and you have not had any Jubilee MP coming to the press saying, no, this person is innocent, or, I think the same should happen for this bill. We should all be united. The power should be with the people, not the leaders. We cannot say that the politicians are thinking of themselves, so they won't continue with the bill because, for selfish interest, and we can do nothing about it. We need to push, even if the politicians are against this because they are thinking about themselves, we need to push this bill when it comes to county assemblies. We need the sensitization, national sensitization on this bill. We need to tell the people the benefits of it, the disadvantages, because everything has pros and cons, so that it can push through, because it will reduce the tax burden and it will be all positive for the Kenyan citizens.
So the power remains to the people, which ni ngumu kuelewa. Watu bado wanafikiria kwamba ni kiongozi ndio will change rather than we have the power. Tukiangalia the Star, the front page, to bury or cremate, Okoth can disagree. Kuna mtafaruku kati ya familia na kati ya familia mbili ama tuseme tatu kuhusiana na kwamba ni jinsi gani hawezi kuzikwa ama kuweza kuchomwa. Unaona kwamba swala la kukremetiwa ni kwamba viongozi vingi wameanza kuichukulia kama ni option moja. Kama Mkenya ungetaka kuchukuliwa hatua kama hiyo?
Nitajibu katika
English,
Kiingereza.
Yes.
This conversation would have been more fruitful if Ken Okoth was alive. Unfortunately, he's not. He wrote a bill. He wrote a will to be cremated.
Yes.
I think the best thing we could do is respect that will. But if you ask me, I do not see the reason why he should be cremated. That is unfortunately dismissing that will, but it shouldn't be dismissed. The reason why he shouldn't be cremated is because his mom.
It says here, MP's wife and brother favor cremation, but his mother says, over my dead body.
His mother wants him buried. Sometime back, I think in 2011, I'm not quite sure, there was this Wanjiru case about where she should be buried. Exactly. There was squabbles, and in the end, there was a lawyer, and I think one side won. I'm not very sure with the details. I think if it gets to that point, they might have to get to the lawyers and have to sort it out using the courts. But there's a high chance the will is going to take the day. It's going to carry the day, because after all, it was written, it was documented. And
that's what he wanted.
That is what he wanted. And the MPs are there, and you know what power can do. But again, as an African, I wouldn't really support cremation. Yeah.
Abubakar, do you think it's a good way?
Cremation and burying. I think it's a conflict between modernization and tradition, because you have our African culture which states that we should be buried, and there is that personal attachment to someone's grave. Your relative was buried here, But for cremation, it's an imported activity. But you know, I think for the issue of Ken Okoth, you have the wife, brother, and such arguing. The mother is of a different opinion. The mother still has rights over the son who was. So I think they should have a dialogue so that they can decide on the best way of to dispose the body. But I think in all, the person's will should be put at first.
Yeah. Let's take a break and then we'll come back and review other newspapers. Mtazamaji, tupate pumziko fupi, tarejea baada ya muda usio mrefu. Kumbuka bado uchambuzi wa magazeti unaendelea. Jina langu ni Ibtisam Jamal.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Quote of the day. Imam Malik bin Anas said, I am but a man. I make mistakes sometimes, and I am correct sometimes. So examine my opinions and accept anything that agrees with the book and sunnah, and leave anything that does not agree with the book and sunnah.
Is investing money in different companies like Coca-Cola, Nestle, etc. for profit and loss permissible or not? The one asking the question, brother or sister, I advise you not to invest in such companies. First and foremost, because by and large, these companies do invest and deal in haram. And it's not accepted to deal in a company that is dealing with haram. So my advice to you, and what the scholars, by and large, the mainstream of the scholars advises, it's not permissible for us to invest in such companies. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best.
Jambo very simple la mwezi, kila mtu ana lake. Hawa wasema tuelekee huku, wale wasema tuelekee kule. Ammati nas, watu wa katikati hawajui, watu wa kawaida hawajui wafuate lipi. Confusion. Leo Ramadhani si Ramadhani, leo ni Idi si Idi, na kadhalika. La sivyo, lazima tuwe na mwelekeo mmoja. Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala kila siku ametuamrisha katika sala tusome surat al-Fatiha, ihdina sirata al-mustaqim, ewe Mwenyezi Mungu tuongoze njia iliyonyoka. Sasa sisi tunatakana tuelekee njia iliyonyoka. Mbona twenda huku na kule, na kila mmoja ni kiongozi, kila mmoja sema lake, kila mmoja ataka kufuatwa yeye.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Karibu katika Sabah Show, awamu ya uchambuzi wa magazeti. Katika awamu yetu ya kwanza tuliweza kuchambua headlines katika ukurasa wa kwanza wa magazeti. Sasa tutaweza kuingia ndani tukujuze ni mambo gani yaliyopewa kipaumbele katika magazeti yetu na vipi inakuathiri wewe unayetazama. Karibu Abubakar Odada. Tukiangalia ukurasa wa kwanza wa gazeti la People's Daily ni kwamba Kenyans in uproar over cancer deaths. Ni kwamba takriban watu 90 wanafariki. They die every day because of cancer. People are angry, people are mad because just maybe if a prominent person dies, that's when the impact is seen. But tukiangalia, so many people have died. Kuna video ambayo iliweza kutanda katika mitandao ya kijamii, yule mwanamke akilia. So the patient died. The patient died of cancer. So it is a natural, it's a disaster. So people are angry. There is no facilities, hakuna treatments which are cheaper for a local mwananchi wanjiko. Do you think it's something which should be addressed as immediately as possible? Abubakar, I can see you're confused kind of. Yes.
Okay, now the issue of cancer, it is arising from the lifestyle of people. From, you know, people are not eating healthy foods, organic foods. People have been to fast foods. You want to eat chips, chicken, you know. And then the issue of the producers of these goods. We have food having, you know, preservatives which are harmful, chemicals, inorganic foods that have been grown under chemicals literally, so it's causing cancer. Now, I think we should first review ourselves. How do we feed each and every day? Do we, you know, when we were in primary school, we used to be taught about balanced diet. How useful is that information to us? How much are we using it? And then, you know, we need to look at it from all sides. We can reduce from ourselves, starting with ourselves by checking at our lifestyles. People sit in offices almost the whole day. No one runs in the morning, you know, very few do. And then on the other side, the producers, they inject chemicals to, you know, preservatives and such. The government needs to place policies and laws that check how the processing of food undergoes. Because if you have waste management of industries, then so should you have, you know, policies that keep to check the food processing industries to ensure that we do not have such chemicals in it. And also the government should be involved in investing more in the health sector, because we have, you know, when a person is a cancer patient, the person has to do a harambe of a few millions.
Sell your land.
Yeah, sell your land,
cars,
call relatives, so that you may go to India for treatment. So the government should at least set a cancer treating hospital, even if it's one in Kenya. They should invest heavily. It's worth, when it's $1 billion shillings, it's worth the spending. We should have chemotherapy being done in a public hospital as such, even if it's one specialized hospital, because you have private hospitals, but how many could afford those, the private hospitals and the kind of treatment, because chemotherapy is very expensive. So I think from the three sides, everyone should please, but the people check their lifestyles, government put policies curbing the food processing industries, and also invest in cancer hospitals.
DCIA says that we're eating poisonous food. Wafanyabiashara, they're repackaging expired products. That's one of the main reasons which he says causes cancer. So we eat vegetables, but how safe are we? We eat meat, how safe are we? We're eating a very healthy diet, but how safe are we?
When you first asked the question, the reason why I looked a little bit confused, I was racing throughout our whole community setup. We are raised in a community where we think that our leaders are some sort of gods. We look up to them so much that at times we realize it's actually not worth it. Yes, we should be angry that cancer is killing people, but I don't think we should be specifically angry that it's killing politicians and they can get help and we can't get help. There's a whole question of morals, the whole question of karma, if one believes in it, because for one, the people who are responsible for running our country and ensuring the resources are there for the treatment of cancer are not doing their job. But then onto your question, you asked about the poisonous food we've been eating. Even if we set standards today, even if we set policies, even if the Kenya Bureau of Standards fasten their process of doing things and tightens the belt, I don't think it will make any more difference if, as individuals, we don't take the responsibility. Someone once said in systems management that a system is as good as the people who run the system, the individual people. If at personal levels you don't have the ethics, if you're not ethical enough to realize that you selling to someone else something that is not good enough is going to kill that person, and who knows, you might be the next person who is going to die as a result of something as bad as yours that you consume elsewhere. So if you don't become ethical enough as individuals, yes, we might set standards, we might set policies, because still, I do an IT-related course, I do telecommunication engineering. Even with the cyber policies, I can still end up hacking Safaricom. That's if I'm good enough. I know I'm good. I can still do that. So it is up to personal decision making. Like, you come up and say, it's okay now, this is killing us, let us stop this. And then we should train ourselves to be able to go through the long procedures to get wealth. You know, once Miguna once said that our politicians do not have the discipline to work hard and earn. They want shortcuts, you want deals here and there. That is what trickles down to the common mananchi. Yeah, you make sure the vegetables are ripe fast. You make sure you use those fertilizers, those oxytocins, etc. You inject them, then you go sell them. And then people now shift from packed food to greens. Greens are even worse than the packed food. That is the problem. So it's about ethics.
Ethics. Tukiangalia ukurasa wa 10 wa gazeti la People's Daily, TSC, Sosion no longer a teacher as from July 2020. Yeah. He says that being deregistered by TSC won't affect his work at the union. But people, he was deregistered because of the kupinga new curriculum walipokuwa wanatrainiwa. So he was deregistered because of that. But ukiangalia kwa miaka mingi, he's been the one cheerleading the rights of teachers. Will this affect the rights of teachers? Ukiangalia kwamba wanalipwa mshahara mdogo, they teach so many kids, the working environment is not good for them. So do you think it will affect someone who's fighting for their rights every day?
In my opinion, for one, that is a very good move. But then again, there's an upside and a downside to it. Here's the downside. Sosion was people's favorite. It still is. My days in high school, my days in primary, I heard of him, I think in class 7, I'm not very sure. He was people's favorite. You know, and it actually worked. The teachers and the lecturers, no, the teachers got their salaries increased. They got better working conditions because, trust you me, those public schools back in Shags where he studied, one teacher for 60 students, 80
Sometimes
students, even 100 students, you know, and they get very low salaries. So Sion fought for them. And it got to some point where my head teacher in primary school was telling me, we are looking at a future whereby teaching will be one of the best professions. In some countries, I'm not really sure, but in some countries like Netherlands, probably in China and Japan, one of the best professions is teaching. The most brilliant minds go for teaching. Come to Kenya, the most brilliant minds go for Eng. I'm one of them. Some go for medicine. Why? Because you're sure if you become a lecturer, you're going to be frustrated. If you become a teacher, you're going to be extremely frustrated.
Medicine and engineering.
Medicine and engineering, at least you won't have to run anywhere. And unfortunately, the most brightest minds, again, were just the other ear on the streets. So Sion was trying to bring up a culture whereby at least teachers will be appreciated. He achieved a given standard. But then the problem came where, in my opinion, he was nominated member of parliament. There were a couple of squabbles here and there. People have different opinions. People thought that he would side with one side and fight the other side. But then I think as long as one does their job, they shouldn't be victimized. But on that topic, I don't think that because he had a different opinion about KICD's new curriculum, that's the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development's new curriculum, that he should be opposed. How many people opposed the 844 system? A number of them. Before that, I just know the last bit was having 6 years. No, the high school bit was having 6 years. After that, we came up with the 844. A number of people opposed it. So Sion, after having been through the 844, I'm sure he actually was taught in the other one that had 6 years. He might have had a good opinion, but I don't think it's reason enough to be cancelled out of TSC because he had a different opinion. Everyone is entitled to their opinion.
Okay, Shillings inazidi kuzorota na kulose thamani yake. Shillings dip in near 5-year low. In June 30th, it was 102 against a dollar. In July 3rd, it was 102, and now it's 104. How bad is it to our economy, Abubakar?
The issue of our currency losing value, it's not something that has started today. In the 1960s, we had countries like Singapore borrowing money from Kenya. But now, currently, we are at nowhere. We cannot compare ourselves with Singapore and the tigers in Asia. Now, it's an issue of we are less focused on our economy. Our economy needs to be, our economic sectors like agriculture, tourism, mining and such, they need to be developed so that we have more income being generated, so that our GDP may increase, our GNP. You have huge huge budgets, 3 trillion a budget, but how well are we taking advantage of the money that we get from taxes? The GDP that we have, you know, it's a highlight of how our economy is doing. Our growth rate it's at a low because, you know, we have had politics interfering with the economy of the country. So I think this is an issue that needs to be looked at from an economic point of view. We need to develop our economic sectors. We need to create more employment, because you cannot be having a high rate of unemployment and then you are expecting people to save, you're expecting people to invest. But the government has still done a good job on the part of, you know, the relations with foreign countries. You have had investors coming to Kenya big time, many investors investing in Kenya due to the political stability that we are enjoying, thanks to the two people who shook hands. But also we need to look at the economic sectors. We need to, I mean, the Ministry of Economic Planning and such, they need to look at this, how we can you know, increase the value of our currency and reduce the level of imports. Because what is happening, for you to import a good, maybe you're importing in dollars. That's the most currency that is used worldwide. So we have people, there is a higher demand for dollars than shillings. So that's why it has happened that the shilling has gone down in value. So importations need to be checked, the level of importations. We need to set a limit to the level of importations and increase more in exports. Not only, you know, provide if it's farming subsistence food for consumption in the country, but also look at how we can export goods. And also, not only over-rely on subsistence production and agriculture and such, we need to invest more in the industrial sector. Because what happens, if you're exporting maybe something like beans, you know, they are subject to price fluctuations. They are subject to price fluctuations. So what happens, at a certain time you'll make a big profit, at a certain time you'll make a loss. But for the industry market, look at the country like Japan. The country has been soaring in economic heights because they have invested more in their industry. They are producing cars, they are doing all types of machinery. And in that kind of market, it can only get better. But what is happening, not only in Kenya, but in many African countries, we are over-relying on economic sectors which experience fluctuation of prices, and therefore we are not reaping much of our fruits from the efforts that we put in.
So prioritizing is very important.
Yeah, priorities.
Senator ataka serikali kuu idhibiti kisiwa cha Migingo kuzuia ghasia. That's on page 4 on Taifa Leo. Senator Achilo Oyacho, he says he wants the national government to intervene on the who owns the Migingo. Yeah, this week, fishermen from Kenya were caught by Ugandan police. So this wrangle has been going on for years. Do you think government of Kenya and Uganda should just come up with a solution? Because mwisho wa siku ni raia ndo wanateseka. Me and you and him.
You know, I always wonder whether we have a map. Whether we have a map and we have borders that clearly put the distinction between where Kenya is and where Uganda is. If it's clear enough, then I don't think this should be an issue. And as a kid, I actually used to take my time and look at the atlas and try to locate where Migingo is exactly, and try to see whether it's in Kenya or Uganda. You know, and then when you go to Migingo, I'm told, Kenyans are told the land is yours, but the water is not yours. So you don't get to understand how the mapping was done to dissect, if we can use that word, between Kenya and Uganda. What should happen is, yes, of course, the government should intervene. But then again, I think none of the governments care. Kenya doesn't care about that. Uganda doesn't care about that either. So it ends up affecting the people who are there. So I don't know. Probably it could get down to the people themselves talking to the police to come to an agreement. Because trust you me, this has been there for a long time, from Kibaki's era down to Uhuru Kenyatta's era, and okay, from Museveni's era down to Museveni's era again. So I don't think this can be helped by the government. It can, but I don't think they'll actually come to help it, unless probably we experience something terrific like cancer right now, which brings to attention.
But in 2015 or maybe kidogo mbali, there was a commission formed between Kenya and Uganda to solve this solution, to at least do the mapping, but the results were not even made public. No one knows what happened.
What I think is, as our government always does in times of crisis, whenever something comes to the attention of the public, they form a commission. They make you feel as though they're doing something until the heat reduces. Then the cycle repeats itself over and over again. We don't buy it anymore.
Abubakar will come to you after the break. Mtazamaji, mada ni moto, maswali ni mengi kuhusiana na yale yaliyochimbuka katika magazeti yetu ya leo. Tupate pumziko fupi, tarejea baada ya muda usiokuwa mrefu. Usiende mbali.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Walk with us as we tell you the stories of our society.
Wengine atavaa mtandio kichwani, utafikiri ni kijihandkerchief.
Enzi za wakati wa kusema ati alisema, akasisitiza, akihutubia wanahabari, enzi hizo hazipo tena.
Kuchimbua na kunakili matukio kwa undani.
We want to create current awareness,
ranging from adventure, human interest and inspirational stories,
ili kuweza kukuelimisha, kukuburudisha na kukubumbuisha.
Words have been said, but now it is time to lay the foundation that will impact the world.
Terrorism is terrorism, no matter who is behind the trigger.
Nachukua fursa hii kukaribisha katika kipindi chako cha kila wiki.
Neno hili fiqhi ni ufahamu, yani kufahamu kitu.
La jirani ni lipi, la mkubwa ni lipi, la mtoto ni lipi, la usiku ni lipi, la mchana ni lipi. Hiyo ndio yaitwa fiqhi.
Dini hii ya Uislamu kila kitu, hatutafuti popote.
Kunywa maji atakavyo Mungu.
Kwa nini Mwenyezi Mungu ameharamisha nguruwe? Kwa nini Mwenyezi Mungu, mbona hujauliza Mwenyezi Mungu kwa nini amehalalisha mbuzi? Mwenye kula nguruwe ni mtu kwa hana wivu.
Uislamu umekuja umekamilika.
Hata wadudu watafuta amani, hawataki kuudhiwa na wao pia. Wala Uislamu haukuja kuwaudhi hata wadudu, ni makosa.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Karibu katika awamu yetu ya tatu na ya mwisho ya uchambuzi wa magazeti katika Sabah Show. Tukiendelea na mada yetu katika gazeti la Daily Nation ukurasa wa pili, ni kwamba msikiti ambao unaitwa Al-Mandri una miaka 449 years. Yes. The mosque that escaped the wrath of Portuguese still standing strong. It's still strong. Let me read a paragraph. Mandri Mosque was built in 1570, 23 years before For Jesus was built. It's still standing strong right now. It's a mosque which people don't know about. You even don't know about it.
I've heard of it for the first time. That's some really good architecture.
Yeah.
I think if JKUAT existed, then the architects must have studied in JKUAT.
For Abu Bakr, it's the only mosque which has two qiblatain. So it has much history. One is here and the other one is in Saudi Arabia. So we only have two mosques which has two qiblas.
I think it's a show of the historical, how rich we are historically as a country, and I think we should, you know, preserve such and use, you know, these are items that need to be, and these such places, they need to be under government care because they are of historical reach to our nation.
And the management still is the same, run by family to family, but still the management is perfect, doing a good job in the mosque. Tukiendelea na masuala mengine, page 4 on the Daily Nation, JKUAT graduates risk losing PhD degrees. I can see fire burning. I can see fire burning. Hundreds of PhD graduates from Jomo Kenyatta Technology University may risk having their degrees recalled after the government investigates revealed. Should I continue? It's too painful. And among the things, they're being told that the PhD classes should be at JKUAT, not at satellites. I can see fire burning.
First of all, I'd like to point out that, for one, as the Academic Affairs Secretary to the Student Council in JKUAT, this is a troubling topic to talk about. But then I'll point out one thing. The number of people who are being admitted in the university in the years that Mago has studied is different from the numbers that are being admitted today. If, for instance, we take a look at JKUAT, I don't have the exact statistics, but I'm very sure that the number of engineers that were admitted when JKUAT was first set up is way lower than the number that is being admitted now. Thanks to the free primary education by former President Mwai Kibaki. Thanks to all those policies, thanks to scholarships that enable bright students go to high school and everything. We're not going to limit ourselves to numbers simply because PhD needs to be had. I was once told by some professor that at some point the professor can just deny you a PhD, even if you qualify for it, simply because you're not supposed to get it that easily. You have all the qualifications and everything. If you go to places like the United States and those other countries, as long as you're smart, you can proceed and achieve the highest level of education. Then come to Kenya, we still think that the same way in the 1990s, the number of A's were probably 2 or 1, it should still remain the same. Yet, you don't look at the other statistics. The entry is high and everything. Now, according to the Commission for University Education, the standings for supervision for PhDs, 1 supervisor to 3 PhDs. This was probably set, I don't know how many years ago. Right now, we have a higher number of admissions. You go to apply for a job, they want higher qualifications. What do? You go back to study. If you have this number of people wanting to do their PhDs, and the number of lecturers that are there few, what happens? You up your game. That is what nature does to people. You up your game to ensure you're able to suit all these things. And I think this is what has been happening. And as far as I'm concerned, JKUAT has the best brains this country has to offer. We've never failed anywhere.
I can see
and we both know. So I don't see the big deal in this. But yes, the Commission for University Education had to look into this. If the investigations are any true, they're supposed to go on and probably recall the degrees. But again, as far as I'm concerned and what I stand by, and as a student of telecommunication and information engineering in JKUAT, I know the standards are good enough. And I know we get the best quality of education there.
Abubakar, let me read. It accuses the institution of violating the university's standards and guidelines, which came into force in 2014.
You know, what is happening, the issue at hand, we have 118 PhDs handed out during the graduation ceremony. One, Professor Pielo Lumumba had, you know, he wondered, even, you know, presented it in a tweet. How comes that such a university has produced the highest, a very high number of PhDs? What we have, I think we are producing substandard candidates, because you have a high number of people being given PhDs. The job market is not ready for them, and you know what? The reason their degrees risk being called off is because they never presented to the panel. You understand? These are people who are remaining. They were remaining one step to graduation, but because the graduation was near, they were granted graduation, where else they had not completed their coursework as it should be. So I think it's an issue of substandard. We are producing substandard, you know, quality of students, And we also need to look at the whole education system. For now, we have a new curriculum coming into place that, you know, we hope that it will address the issues of unemployment and such, because Kenya, how it is now, it's not how it was 30 years ago, where people were being told, you know, go to school, work hard, get a job. It's no longer the same. People have degrees, they have masters, they have PhDs, they are not jobs. So what we should do for now, yes, we have the new curriculum coming in, it has already started working. But what we should do from 4 level, the KCSE level, Professor Magoha was saying in a certain event that when he goes to the village, for him to find a plumber, he has to go for 40 kilometers so that he can find a good plumber to make, you know, repair the water system in the house. We need more people in the technical institutes. We need more people in colleges doing diplomas, lesser people doing degrees, and fewer people doing masters and PhDs, because we need a balance in the job market, because you have many graduates who have no jobs. Now, the issue at hand, PhDs being given out substandard, it shouldn't be the case. I think they should go down to the because it was an error from the university. It is, in KU, we have master's students taking 3 years, 4 years doing masters. I can attest to that. I've seen people taking 3 years, 4 years doing masters, whereas it should only take 2 years, because they want to ensure that the people who, the person being given that certificate is worth the certificate. So that if you have a thesis that you cannot defend, then why should you be given a master's, not even a PhD?
I can see fire burning.
For one, in brief. Yeah, surely. Let me straight out some factually incorrect details that you give. First of all, PLO Lumumba does not have a Twitter account. If you go and click on the profile of the so-called PLO Lumumba Twitter account, the first statement is, this is not PLO Lumumba's Twitter account. This is a fan-based Twitter account. But that guy has a following. Why? Because, you know, we are Kenyans, we don't really look into details. I actually went and looked at the profile. That person is not PLO Lumumba.
I think
Stated out.
Let's be brief.
The second thing. As a PhD graduate, it is so unfortunate if you're going to look for a job. A PhD graduate is supposed to base on research. Our system is poor, that is why they end up being lecturers. We're supposed to invest in researchers, come up with new things. And then lastly, panel presentation and graduation. I recently fought for a number of people as the academic sec to be included in the graduation list. Why? They fully qualified, but are not there in the graduation list. In JQuat, for you to graduate, people take 2 years after finishing the course outline to graduate.
Let's change the topic.
Yeah, thank you.
On the last page of Standard, I doped, now I live in pain. Kenya athlete confesses he lives in pain right now because of doping, and we can see so many athletes have been barred from running because of doping. It's an increasing taking time bomb to Kenyan athletes. Why are people doping?
First, let me comment on the issue. First, you know, long distance running, like marathons and such, because that's what Kenya does best in. We have it from a certain community. What happens for these athletes, most of them are not educated. Most of them are in high school. They go for a cross-country competition. They emerge the best, and they think, maybe I should try being an athlete. They run and, you know, do the best. So these people, when they are winning medals and such, they do not know even the banned substances. We have seen, you know, athletes saying that I never knew this was a banned substance. We need education on the athletes first. We need to tell them these are the banned substances. You should not engage in them. And then if someone is found, as much as he's one of us, then I think the law should fall on him. But I think we need sensitization to the athletes to educate them, because I can assure you most of them do not have degrees. Most of them do not know the difference between the chemical substances. We need sensitization.
So sensitization is the most important, I think. If I read something here which will affect everyone, even me, about maybe I intend to buy a car one day. The government is planning to phase out second-hand vehicles in order to promote production of local assembly vehicles. Not everyone can afford the vehicles which are assembled here. So many Kenyans are buying second-hand
vehicles from Japan.
Yeah, even I maybe intend to buy second-hand. Do you think it's a good move for the government to plan to phase out these vehicles, and so many Kenyans are buying those cars? And do you think it will also ease congestion?
What I think is, if their intention is to ensure that we buy local Kenyan goods, then one thing they should work on is not phasing out the goods, the vehicles. What they should work on is reduce the cost of production, reduce the cost of electricity, reduce the cost of everything, so that it is affordable. But then again, looking at it from the other end, second-hand vehicles from these countries have a really funny approach to mechanics. For instance, there's a report that was once done about the metals used to do those vehicles that have been recycled over 5 times. Metal used, recycled, and recycled, and recycled again. The metallic structure gets worn out and everything. So I don't really think it's a smart move. Maybe unless they had another special reason. But if it's so that we buy Kenyan vehicles, personally, I'll go for German, especially imported. So I don't think that is the reason. They need to up their standards. That is what will make Kenyans buy Kenya. But facing out the second-hand vehicles will still import them anyway. So I don't think it's...
Because it will affect the normal Bananchi who buys the second-hand, because that's what he or she can
afford. Yeah.
Yes. On page 10 of the Star, NEMA opposes bid to demolish smoking areas in Nairobi CBD. We've seen so many smoking areas on which helps conserve the environment and also helps the health of someone else who's next to someone who's smoking. Is it a good move?
Yeah, I think NEMA, it has a purpose of protecting the environment. If you demolish smoking zones, people will be smoking everywhere. I mean, it's uncomfortable for people, for citizens of Nairobi actually. So I think NEMA should continue with the bid to protect the smoking zones, because first it will people have respiratory problems. So if you have someone smoking at a certain place, just obvio because there are no smoking zones, then it will cause health hazards. NEMA, and for one, if at all the purpose of this demolishing of smoking zones is the reclamation of land, because I think that's the only reason that we should have. We should have then the county government or such designating community land, so that if it's a smoking zone, it's not a person's personal property, or it's not owned by an individual. It's a community land, so that you do not have issue of land wrangles again.
We have like around 1 minute to go, my producer tells me, but we can finish up with page 29 of Business Daily. You can instill discipline without using the road. Do you think why you can't?
Very few times. I was caned I was a good boy.
At home and school?
At home and school. First, in primary schools, whatever is happening, we have a lot of individualism. Caning should be there, especially in primary schools, but to what extent? Because you have teachers conducting physical abuse to children and claiming that it's a form of discipline. So it should be there in primary schools. In high schools, in fact, it should be phased out in high schools. We should not be having caning in high schools. In primary schools, if it's there, it should be at a limited level, so that you do not end up torturing and injuring children on the basis of saying that you are disciplining them.
I remember I've been caned in secondary schools many times.
What I can say about caning is, if you tell a kid today not to, a 2-year-old kid, for instance, don't walk naked, the kid will not get the reason why they should not walk naked. That is why caning is there. They will not walk naked because they're going to be beaten. Until you get to a given age where you can conceive logic and reason, then you can reason on your own. Some of the kids, as we grow up, the reason why you have to be caned is because you don't do whatever you're told not to do, because you'll be caned, not because you understand why you should not do it. Exactly. And then when you get at a given age, you realize that actually I should not do this because it's wrong. I should not pee on my clothes because I'll smell and I'll look bad. And then I think caning should have a given age. If someone still canes you at Form 4, there was a problem somewhere with your upbringing, because if you can still not conceive of instructions and understand them and analyze them without having to be inflicted some pain, and again, if I am a parent, I'll not cane my kid past, say, 10. Because if I still cane him past 10, there's some problems I did not sort out when he could still, be straightened up. So yes, caning should be there, especially in primary school, as you said. But I remember being caned all the way from primary to high school, so I don't know.
Which high school? It's not even your mistake.
It's not even my mistake, but yeah, the system is there. You fail in maths and you get caned. But I don't think it should be that way. But yes, as a kid, you should be caned, so that you shouldn't do this because you'll be having pain inflicted in you.
I don't know which high schools you both studied in.
We should at least go back and make him being caned.
Yeah, you need some caning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming, and your input was very important. Thank you so much. Na mtazamaji unaotuangalia katika Horizon TV, kumbuka tumemaliza awamu yetu ya uchambuzi wa magazeti. Usiende mbali, tutarejea na business chat ambapo tunaandaa mada yetu ya leo ni namna ya kupambana na bidhaa ghushi na athari yake kwa uchumi. Usiende mbali, tutarejea baada muda usiokuwa mrefu. Jina langu ni Ibtisam Jamal.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Quote of the day. Imam Malik bin Anas said, I am but a man. I make mistakes sometimes, and I am correct sometimes. So examine my opinions and accept anything that agrees with the book and sunnah, and leave anything that does not agree with the book and sunnah.
To what extent is a person liable to support his extended family? Now, let us keep in mind there are a few things. The first thing is when a person is married and he is a father, then it is his responsibility to look after his wife and to look after his children. الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. Allah Ta'ala says that the man is the head of the household, and one of the reasons why he is the head of the household is he takes care of the expenses of his family. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, أفضل دينار ينفقه الرجل. The best dinar a person spends is that in which he looks after the financial needs, not necessarily the extravagance, but financial necessities of his family. That would mean his wife and his children and his aging parents, because that would be his responsibility. As far as the extended family is concerned, if he has the means, then Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had said, if he has the means, then it is preferable for him to help his extended family first before helping other people who are needy. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had said, to help a person who is poor is one reward, but to help a relative who is poor and is in need, you have a double reward, because you are helping someone who is needy and you're also helping him who is a relative. So let us look at these questions and look at the answer. Firstly, yes, it is compulsory for him to look after the financial needs of those who are dependent upon him, his wife and children and aging parents. And for example, the other aspect with regard to the extended family, if he has the means, and that's a very important caveat, if he has the means, then it is preferable for him to first look at the needs of the relative rather than looking at the needy outside the family. Jazakumullah.
Assalamu alaikum. What makes you unhappy? One of the things that causes massive unhappiness are our shoulds. The belief that life should be like this, or he should be like that, or she shouldn't have done this. When life doesn't go the way we want, we feel sad and unhappy. Why is this? Maybe it's because we believe we know what's best for ourselves and our lives. It reminds me of a story about a guy called Imran. His wife was pregnant and she made a promise to Allah while she was expecting that her unborn son would be dedicated to the service of Allah. But when the baby was born, it was a girl. Imran's wife was shocked. She thought it should be a boy, but Allah had a plan in store for her that she could never have imagined. And that baby grew up to be Maryam alayhi salam, the greatest woman that ever lived. This story is a fantastic example of how Allah's plan is so much better than the shoulds we have. This means that we should accept Allah's plan and His qadr as it happens, and we should be patient. And we have a guarantee from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that it's all good. He said in a hadith that strange is the situation of a believer. Without a doubt, there is good in all his affairs, and this is only for the believer. If something good happens to him and he's thankful, it's good for him. And if a calamity befalls him and he's patient, then this is good for him also. This means that whatever happens to us is brilliant, and we should accept it, and we should be patient, and we should go with whatever Allah decides for us. So we need to throw away our shoulds, we need to accept the plan of Allah, and we need to be thankful and patient. Jazakallah khair for watching. Assalamu alaikum.
Jambo very simple la mwezi, kila mtu ana lake. Hawa wasema tuelekee huku, wale wasema tuelekee kule. Ammati nas, watu wa katikati hawajui, watu wa kawaida hawajui wafuate lipi. Confusion. Leo ni Ramadhani si Ramadhani, leo ni Idi si Idi, na kadhalika. La, sivyo. Lazima tuwe na mwelekeo mmoja. Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala kila siku ametuamrisha katika sala tusome surat al-Fatiha, ihdina sirata al-mustaqim, ewe Mwenyezi Mungu tuongoze njia iliyonyoka. Sasa sisi tunatakana tuelekee njia iliyonyoka. Mbona twenda huku na kule, na kila mmoja ni kiongozi, kila mmoja sema lake, kila mmoja ataka kufuatwa yeye.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ikiwa ni tarehe 28 ya mwezi Abdul Qaada mwaka 1440 sawia na tarehe 31 mwezi Julai mwaka 2019, karibu katika Business Chat, tukipeperusha moja kwa moja katikati mwa jiji la Nairobi katika msikiti wa Jamia. Mada yetu ya leo ni jinsi gani serikali inatumia kupambana na bidhaa ghushi na athari yake kwa uchumi ni gani, na ili kuweza kufanikisha kipindi hiki, kawaida siko peke yangu, niko na Joseph kutoka Kenya Association of Manufacturers, niko na Abdurrahman, Managing Director of Alba, na niko na Ibrahim Bule ambaye anafanya kazi katika agency ya kupambana na bidhaa ghushi. Karibu sana. Welcome to our show. Let me read something for you which at least it is a history which the viewers will learn. It says that Kenya's first experience with counterfeit was during the Great Kenyan Coffee Crop Disaster recorded in 1979-1980, when a fake insecticide used by farmers to control coffee disease in central Kenya wiped out the entire crop. Since then, 1.1 billion of fertilizers, clothes, electronic, foodstuffs are counterfeit. Since 1979 till 2019. So we've seen rampant, things are increasing, from foodstuffs, from building materials, from spares of cars. Our institution combating counterfeit goods are not doing enough to protect Kenyans. Joseph, I'll start with you.
Thank you very much. And viewers, you are most welcome. And this is a very good program that we'll be engaging on, and we would like to congratulate or to thank the Horizon TV show for bringing this up, because this is a matter that is at the heart of the society. It has a social impact because everybody is a victim. No one is left unaffected by matters of counterfeiting and illicit trade. So it's good that God has answered prayers that all our media have come together now to join us in this campaign against counterfeits and illicit trade. And we are going ahead, and we'll go ahead working with the government as the private sector in order to address the challenges that are related to illicit trade. The bottom line is counterfeiting affects the health and safety of the common monange. And that's the reason why it has a social impact, and that's the reason why we are very passionate about this matter, so that we ensure that our society is safe in terms of the products that they are consuming. Let me just introduce my organization. I work for the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and we as manufacturers in the manufacturing value add industry, we are very much concerned about this vice because, one, we manufacture genuine products. Two, we guarantee health and safety aspects in these products. And three, we want consumers to have the value for their money.
So what are you doing enough to protect Kenyans?
Now, one of the things that we are doing is to identify the challenges that are there in the market, because one, we have some challenges to do with the advance in technology, the connectivity within the global market, and the ease of accessing some of these products. So there is a dire need for fast-moving consumer goods from the society. But at the same time, there are counterfeiters who have come to take advantage of the investment that has been done over years, through research and development, to produce genuine products that will solve certain socio-economic problems. So with that, we want to protect the market share of manufacturers. At the same time, we ensure that the consumers, they do not consume anything that harm their health, as well as endanger their safety.
Thank you, Joseph. Abdurrahman, are the government institutions doing enough? Before I get to Ibrahim to answer that question.
Actually, my colleague said a lot about it. The government, to some extent, they are doing a lot in fight against counterfeit goods. But the real challenge comes, basically, most of the counterfeiters, mostly they use, sophisticated techniques, and also they keep changing, their tactics of usually perpetrating this vice. And the government, yes, it's doing a lot in fight against counterfeit. Recently, they actually joined some multi-agency forces purely to fight against this vice. And there are a lot of, regulations. Basically, the agents of my colleague, they are doing Ibrahim and Joseph. So basically, the government is doing a lot. It's doing a lot to fight against counterfeit. But the real challenge is the technology. There's a technological hiccups here and there. Also, to give maybe an example of what the agencies are doing, recently, a year or so ago, they just introduced the system of, the text messages, whereby the consumers basically can verify the genuineness of, a certain product. If it is counterfeit, they can basically know through those channels. So, in my view, the government's doing a lot, but there's no room for, laxity. They have to up their game.
Ibrahim, the volume is in your court.
Thank you, madam. And
the Horizon TV for giving us this opportunity to address the wananchi on the aspects of counterfeiting and the measures and strategies used by the government authorities. I just want to start with the historical background we have brought to the attention of the viewers. That indeed, since the 1979 incident happened to date, a lot of things are transformed in terms of the economic development in the country, the cultural perspective and the perception of the people. At the same time, government was not also sitting back, and there was a lot of legislative transformation. And the government of Kenya, being one of the countries that have surpassed the TRIPS agreement, they have entered into several international conventions and agreements in order to combat counterfeits. And one of the great measures as a country we have taken since then is the enactment of the anti-counterfeit law, which started sometimes back in 2008, and it was operationalized in 2010. And since then, the fruits, actually the fruits can be realized across the board and even beyond Kenya level. And to make it more reasonable for you, as a country and as a government, we have made several measures and strategies to fight counterfeit. And recently, even the president had commissioned the multi-agency operation, which actually cracked down the counterfeit products. And as a result, a good worth of over 13 billion were seized, and about quite a number of it has been destroyed. And as an agency, anti-counterfeit alone, from the data, because that was both the contraband and also the counterfeit, as a counterfeit goods alone, I was told the data is reading over 2 billion seizures that were made. And in that regards, then that means several convictions were also made, and that is actually what's called the disruption in terms of the fight of the counterfeits. As my colleague alluded, this has several impact on both the economic level, at personal level, and the health and the well-being of the society. We are not left back as a country, and also as an authority. We had been working together with the society as other factors transform in terms of fighting the counterfeit.
A study which was done by Star Counter revealed that it was done in May 2017 to 2018. It says that 24.6%, that's approximately 10.4 million fake phones in Kenyan market that carry brand names of popular phones. In March 2011, Kenya Association of Pharmaceuticals Industry estimated that counterfeit medicines accounted approximately 9 billion in sales annually. How are the counterfeits infiltrating Kenyan market? How?
Those are the issues that we have been addressing, because as I said, is that we are in global market, we are members of World Trade Organization, and the other challenge that we have is that Kenya is positioned as an entry point for the rest of the region, that is East Africa community. So we had a lot of transit goods to the neighboring country, but then again, people, especially the importers, they usually import some of these counterfeit products through our main ports, and we just confirmed just recently that is on June 20th, just last month, that 91% of the goods that we destroyed at Athi River Incinerator, that is counterfeit goods that we destroyed. 91% of those goods that we destroyed, worth that is 2.7 million shillings, were actually imported goods, and they were actually coming from the Republic of China.
Oh. Is it the main reason, Kamba, we have porous borders, is it the main reason that Kenya is vulnerable?
Yes, yes, indeed, indeed. The porous border is maybe one of the reasons, you know, to man like that wide, the borderline and the coastline we have, although not that big, but the coastlines and the border, the porous borders that we have with countries like Tanzania, Uganda, and of course Somalia, we share actually the normal border as well as, you know, some coastlines. Actually, that is one of the reasons why we have these goods infiltrating into our country, and also some goods are usually destined maybe to a country like, you know, Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, as a country of, you know, destination, but they find, you know, their way being basically diverted into our region. So to some extent, the kind of, you know, as in there is not much enough security in our borders to combat this vice. Also, probably, as you know, as we know as Kenyans, we have like some of the officials in our borders are easily compromisable. So that's also another reason why we have these goods infiltrating in our country. So the issue of us having porous border, to some extent, you know, it adds, you know, to this vice. Similarly, we have basically to have a coastline the guards actually we just launched, I think, a while ago. So also maybe that thing can add a kind of value to fight against this problem. But easily it's easily manageable. It's easily manageable if well plan is put in place to fight it.
Ibrahim, do you think you've talked about the effects, a little bit about the effects of counterfeit products? What are the main dangers of these products to our health? We'll talk to him about the economy and the companies which are producing the same products in here.
Thank you, Madam. Before I respond to your question, there's something I just want to add what my colleagues have said. In terms of why then the counterfeit goods are increasing into our market. You see, there's something on perception as a society. Kenya being one of the growing economies within the East Africa or Africa to say, people always like to relate themselves with fashionable products, the high quality products. But then the cost and the price is what they puts them into dilemma. And as a result, you realize that the demand for this market vis-a-vis the value for money is what it is at play. And many times, the unscrupulous traders now takes advantage of that, and they chip in now this kind of fake products like the phones you have said. Between me and you, today you want this tablet, it's a fashionable product. But when you go for the real product, you are unable to buy because of the price.
And I want a brand.
Yeah. Now that relationship, it what actually enhances or increases the level at which the society now tries to impress the counterfeit product vis-a-vis the genuine product my colleague produces at a reasonable price. Therefore, those are some of the denominator we have analyzed from as an agency perspective. Now coming back to the issue of effects,
yes,
to the common wananchi and the country as a whole. You see the counterfeit, from what my colleague have just said about the safety. The counterfeit cuts across many products that is being sold into the market, be it the electrical products, the spare parts, the cosmetics our ladies use, the food stuff we use, and all this. Now, the challenge we have in terms of now trying to to quantify in terms of the level effect it has. There might be not research that was conducted to exclusively square out one specific product as to say, but there is a general perception that there is a huge health impact on the product, because the production line and the safety regulation in terms of manufacturing setups is not compliant.
We'll come back to you and explain it more deep. We'll come to you and we'll come to you. Na mtazamaji, popote pale ulipokumbuka, unaweza kuchangia katika mada yetu ya kupambana na bidhaa ghushi. Je, ushawahi nunua bidhaa ghushi? Unaweza tuma maoni yako kupitia nambari zetu ziliopo katika runinga yako, au unaweza kupiga simu, au unaweza wasiliana nasi katika mitandao ya kijamii @Horizontv Kenya, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Tupate pumziko fupi, tarejea baada ya muda usiokuwa mrefu.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
How come Muslim men and women are not allowed to shake hands? Now, Muslim men and women are not supposed to shake hands because it is prohibited in the religion of Islam. And of course, as we said, this whole aspect, the hijab, the free mixing are all related. Therefore, we are not allowed to shake hands unless we are shaking hands with the mahrams, and that is to minimize fitna and of course to minimize anything that would come with the shaking of hands. Now, may I just mention that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited zina, fornication, adultery, whichever we want to look at it, he did not just say do not commit, he said do not go near. And one of the things that would take us near zina is of course shaking hands, the eye contact and the other issues that we've been taught. And it has been reported authentically that Rasulullah Alaihi Wasallam said it is better for a woman actually, for a man to hold a hot coal. And of course we have incidents where there are those who've been asked if you have to hold a woman's hand, then it's better you hold a hot coal than to hold her hand. So because of the fitna and what will come after that, we are not allowed to shake hands.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Karibu katika Business Chat, awamu yetu ya pili ya kipindi hiki. Mada yetu ya leo ni jinsi gani serikali inachukua mikakati ya kupambana na bidhaa ghushi na athari yake ni gani kwa uchumi. Kama una maoni kuhusiana na mada yetu ya leo, unaweza wasiliana nasi katika mitandao yetu ya kijamii @Horizontv Kenya, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, au unaweza kutuma ujumbe mfupi au hata unaweza kupiga simu katika nambari zetu zilioko katika runinga yako. Ibrahim Buli, tukiendelea na athari ya bidhaa hizi ghushi kwa wananchi ni gani? Uko unaendelea kabla sija kukatiza.
Actually, thanks madam. The effect on health is quite huge because I was just saying that the production requirements or the manufacturing requirements are compromised for counterfeit products. Hence, there is no guarantee of the product that you're using. And as a result, you realize that, like I'll give you a good example for the cosmetics. You'll end up having, if you use products that are not even confirmed in terms of the standard, the required standard set by KEBS, you're likely to spill off your skin. And many ladies have been reported also having the rashes on the face and among other things.
Maybe it can lead to even skin cancer?
Yeah, it can lead to skin cancer. It can lead to other adverse effects. And as a result of that,
you want to look good.
Yeah, you want to look good. Instead of now looking good, you look very ugly and bad. And for that reason, but say we will not be able to say that there was a specific issue that was conducted research on, but those incidents have been reported in various places. One other effect, and my colleagues will allude to this from the economic part of it, as a person, you as a person, the money for value for your money is not also met. And as a result of that, you realize that it has a great impact on your psychological part of you, because you'll be losing money. Like the phones, I'll give you an example. There's a lady one day was crying in our office. She put this phone, just when she reached the house, the phone is not working. The person who whoever sold it to her cannot be traced, because aliuzia kama kulikuwa na a mobile car. There's a car moving, selling. Now,
every day.
Yeah, you can't trace. You see, this is a big problem for her. She loses the emotional part of it, and all this kind of. It makes people stressed in terms of valuing and losing their money.
I even one time I even bought an iron box. It looked original. Once I reached home after 2 days, it didn't work.
Yeah,
because when you opened it, just something very small was there. It wasn't working.
Yeah. Now the challenge at that point is, will you say that this was a technical default in terms of the electrical setup, or is it counterfeit per se? Those are now the two different dynamics we have. And in such scenario, you need to return back the product to the authorities, maybe to KEBS or anti-counterfeit for further checks. If the brand is a problem, then it can be addressed. If it's about the technical issue, then the owner of the company, my colleague, can tell you there's a way they refund, or there's a way they deal with it, because technical problems are also there.
I still have it after 1 year. Joseph, the effects of counterfeit.
Yes, thank you. Before I come to the effects, let me just clarify that we have said that more than 70% of counterfeits are imported, and majorly they come from the Republic of China. But the Republic of China doesn't have any problem, and it's our own people who are going there with samples and ordering these counterfeit products to be sold to the already innocent and ignorant mwananchi. So it's our own people, it's our own making, it's a social problem that we have in terms of the traders. And this is being driven by greed for quick money, with low investment and high returns. So with that, we must acknowledge that, yes, I'll give a case example. This counterfeit detector pen from the Republic of China.
I think the cameras will
they are counterfeit detector pen from the Republic of China. Their work is to detect counterfeit or fake money.
Oh, those pens?
Yes, these ones. They can be able to do that. One, you can just light on it, and it has some direction on how you confirm this, and the other one has the pen and some light. So these two, they have been made by the Republic of China. So China is not the problem. China makes goods based on the standards that we give them. They are able to make quite a range of products, but then we have to love our people. We have to be patriots and not be driven by greed. Coming to now the impact, I'll not go very deep into very many impact, but I'll just narrow down to the current government Big Four agenda. And then we can see the impact that is there to the entire socio-economic and political setup. One, we have the manufacturing sector. Counterfeit products, they lead to loss of market share to our manufacturing value-add industry. This means that if we encourage counterfeit, or if we do not address the menace of counterfeiting, then what will happen is that the industry will close down. We will become a net importer of products. That means that we have exported the already much needed jobs
Can you
for
keep
our
the
people.
pens here so that,
So
Yeah,
With
so
that,
that we can see it. Yes.
Yeah, with that, we are exporting jobs when we close down our manufacturing units.
Like Everready.
Yes.
Company like Everready, it closed down because there are fake products coming in.
Those are the case examples. Then, even our people, every product should be traced to the source, meaning a certain legit source. If we have counterfeit product, you cannot trace it to any particular company because they are just trading with it, but and therefore the consumers can sue our manufacturer, yet they are not the ones who are producing counterfeit goods. So with that, that's the reason why we fight against counterfeit as an association on behalf of our members. The second impact is on food security. We just gave a very good case example of how a certain pesticide was sprayed on coffee
in 1979.
plantations, and a whole crop was lost like that. That means that if we use the counterfeit pesticide, insecticide, the wrong counterfeit chemicals, herbicides, we use counterfeit planting seeds, like for the maize, then we'll have a lot of food security when it comes to the society. And what will happen is that everybody will be affected in terms of when the food prices goes up, everybody will feel it.
Yeah, people die because of hunger.
Then the other thing is that we go to health aspect. That's the number 3 agenda in terms of the big 4. We have talked about manufacturing sector. We have talked about food security. Now, affordable health care. If we consume counterfeit medicine, what we are doing is that we are just exposing our people to more complications in terms of resistance to certain medicines, in terms of even death. And what will happen is that the government will be constrained in terms of expenditure on the health budget, because many people will be seeking health services, and this means that every family and also the government will be constrained by this counterfeit medicine. So we have to handle this, and it's not a personal issue, it's a societal issue, and we have to take a joint approach in terms of creating awareness, at the same time supporting the government in the fight against counterfeit products. The fourth component is about affordable housing. We have seen building collapsing, caving in. Why? It's because of counterfeit-related building materials. So all these have a socio-economic and political impact. But at the same time, because of the quick money that is generated by this vice, we have the issue of corruption that is at the core of our society, whereby quick money can corrupt even the government officials, even anybody in the society, so that we do not get the socio-economic development for this country, because money is just exchanging hard, because they have not, people are getting money from receipt trade or counterfeit goods, and therefore they can influence their way so that they can protect their trading aspect. So we have to be very loyal, we have to be very patriot, and make sure that we serve our people with products that are genuine. And if you are selling counterfeit today, I urge you to know that this may come back to you. Even if you get a lot of money, it will come later back to you, because you don't know who will be in that matatu traveling home, and then something that was fake, a spare part that was fake, was installed by the mechanic. And then it causes a road accident. Who knows that whether your family member will be there? So it's a societal problem that, and we have to deal with this societal problem.
It narrows down with ethics.
Yes. Yes.
Abdurrahman, Kenya loses 30 billion annually because of counterfeit products. This is according to the data and President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2018. What are the effects, economic effects of counterfeit products?
Actually, economic effects of counterfeit products is really wide and a lot. it affects the government, individuals, as well as companies. For the government, basically, they lose a lot of taxes because of the tax evasion that's been done through these channels. Also, the government losing that revenue will really affect its Big Four agenda, as said by my colleague Joseph. For companies, it will be very hard for them to compete, fairly, since someone's selling, a phone maybe for 10,000, that is a fake one, and the other one selling 20,000. You can't compete, and then the two shops are just nearby to each other. What that means, the one selling the genuine product will really be in the long run to close, doors. So that's for the company's perspective. For individuals, it's been said by my colleague also, and that is, it gives the person, that feeling of being, feeling guilt of buying that thing, which will just, kind of giving you faults after 2 or 3 days. So for economic perspective, it is really wide. As I mentioned, the taxation bit of it, the companies also, the manufacturing companies, they will be forced at some points to increase, the cost of production, since they are trying to put measures to counter this vice. So basically, that product will have that input of, that extra cost, which will be borne by the consumers. So economically, the effect of counterfeit product is really wide, and also multinationals, which are trying maybe to set up businesses in Kenya. When they see probably their product being manufactured elsewhere at a cheaper cost, imported, it will be very hard for them to sell genuine products in the country, and that will force them to also shut down operations. A good example was Forever, right?
Ever Ready.
Ever Ready, not Forever. Ever Ready. That company, I think, it produces battery and related things. So economically, it cuts actually across the board. It affects everyone, from the government. It's been said statistically around 30 billion.
Yeah, 30 billion.
Yeah, that's really a lot. 30 billion can, can serve some counties which are, now having struggles with the national government when it comes to revenue, sharing. So basically, economically, it's really a lot. It's really a lot.
Na mtazamaji, kama ulivyosikia, athari ya bidhaa ghushi ni nyingi, si kwa afya, si kwa gari, hata si kwa pia vyakula unavyokula. Kama una maoni yako, unaweza kutuma kupitia Horizon TV Kenya, social media handles zetu Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Pia unaweza kutuma maoni yetu kwa kupitia nambari zetu za simu ziliopo katika runinga zako. Tupate pumziko fupi, tarejea baada muda usiokuwa mrefu.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Walk with us as we tell you the stories of our society.
Wengine atavaa mtandio kichwani, utafikiri ni kijihandkerchief.
Enzi za wakati wa kusema ati alisema, akasisitiza, akihutubia wanahabari, enzi hizo hazipo tena.
Kuchimbua na kunakili matukio kwa undani.
We want to create current awareness,
ranging from adventure, human interest and inspirational stories,
ili kuweza kukuelimisha, kukuburudisha na kukubumbuisha.
Words have been said, but now it is time to lay the foundation that will impact the world.
Terrorism is terrorism, no matter who is behind the trigger.
Nachukua fursa hii kukaribisha katika kipindi chako cha kila wiki.
Neno hili fiqh ni ufahamu, yani kufahamu kitu.
La jirani ni lipi, la mkubwa ni lipi, la mtoto ni lipi, la usiku ni lipi, la mchana ni lipi. Hiyo ndiyo yaitwa fiqhi.
Dini hii ya Uislamu kila kitu, hatutafuti popote.
Kunwa maji atakavyo Mungu.
Kwa nini Mwenyezi Mungu ameharamisha nguruwe? Kwa nini Mwenyezi Mungu, mbona hujauliza Mwenyezi Mungu kwa nini amehalalisha mbuzi? Mwenye kula nguruwe ni mtu kuwa hana wivu.
Uislamu umekuja umekamilika.
Hata wadudu watafuta amani, hawataki kuudhiwa na wao pia. Wala Uislamu haukuja kuwaudhi hata wadudu, ni makosa.
With kids, we learn Quran, we learn Quran, we learn Quran, we learn Quran, we learn Hadith, we learn Hadith, we learn Hadith, we learn Hadith, we learn the duas, we learn the duas, we learn the duas, we learn the duas, we love a prophet. We love a prophet, we love a prophet, we love a prophet. Abu Najma with kids. Abu Najma with kids. We learn Quran, we learn Quran, we learn Quran, we learn Quran, we learn Hadith.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Karibu katika awamu yetu ya tatu na ya mwisho ya Business Chat. Mada yetu ni athari ya bidhaa ghushi kwa mwananchi, afya, economy na hata vitu unavyotumia kutengeneza gari zako. Niko na Joseph. Joseph, nikiregea kwako, straight to you. How safe are our brand names since uko Kenyan Association of Manufacturers?
Yeah, I just want to assure our viewers that all our brands, they are secure, they are safe. And that's the reason why we are fighting against counterfeit products, because they infringe on our trademarks. And we have done a lot of investment, all our members have done a lot of investment in terms of research and development to ensure that any brand is safe for use by the end user. So, and if you see any genuine product, it is traceable to the source. That's one of the requirements, that all products, if you check on the labeling elements, it has a guarantee that this is safe. And if you have any queries, you can just call the numbers that are indicated there, or you can visit their manufacturing premises. All you can interact with their customer care or hotline numbers, so that you give any feedback related to that product. So there's that follow-up. And we also do a lot of advertisement in order to enhance the awareness with the consumers, so that they are aware about any new product that is being introduced to the market, that this is our product and it's coming from this company and it is going to serve this purpose in the society. So our brands are safe, but then there is this element of counterfeit products that we are tackling in collaboration with the government, and we have come up with certain strategies in order to curb that. So we would like to request our traders because we ensure that we have a clean distribution chain from the manufacturing company all the way to the market. We request or we urge the retailers and the wholesalers to ensure that whatever that they are buying is genuine and it will not affect the health and safety of our consumers, you and I included. In one way, you are a consumer. In another way, I am a consumer of certain products. So let us be safe. Let us ensure that we bring the much needed positive social impact to whatever kind of product that is in the market.
Ibrahim, so many people are pointing fingers at the agency. They say that you're not doing enough to curb the counterfeit products. They're just lagging behind. What are the challenges that you face as an agency?
Thank you, Madam Jamal. I just want to add what my colleagues say before I respond to your matter. The issue of how safe are the brands, I just want to give an assurance to the brand owners in the country and also at the global level who have interest in investing in the Kenya market. One, as he has already said, the government took several initiatives to actually protect the brand of individual brand owners. Through the recently we launched an enriched BVOC program. This enriched BVOC program is a program that ensures the product coming from the country, from abroad, actually meets all the standard, and besides that, then they don't infringe the respective brands that exist within the country. And we also do post clearance surveillance, which means we do market surveillance, and in the event that we also realize that there are counterfeit goods in the market, we also nab them and seize. We have also made several platforms through which both the individual level and the brand owner can also lodge complaint. That is through our website. You can Google, and those information are also available in our website, www.aca.go. There is also a hotline which is available for reporting purposes, and also you can drop even your complaints directly to the authorities' offices, which is based at all corners of this country. In fact, we recently have established offices in all the border points. We have offices at Moyale. We have offices which captures now all the Mandera and the Northern Corridor. We also have in the Rift Valley, both the north and the south. We also have Nyanza established office. We also have offices at Mombasa and here in Nairobi. Therefore, the public, the members of the public and also the manufacturers, brand owners are also made aware of the same, so that they can lodge complaint and the action will be taken, will be considered and action taken within a very short time. Now, in terms of the challenges we have as an agency, so to say, because it's not always to complain, but there are several challenges we have with the protection of counterfeits or stopping this kind of counterfeit. One, we have problem because there is a challenge on product knowledge. You see now the identification, or so to say, the powers to know or the knowledge to know this product is genuine or counterfeit does not sit with the authority. It sits with the brand owner. Therefore, that knowledge gap is one of the critical factors the officers they currently we face. Secondly, we also have porous border, as alluded with my colleagues here. There are several porous border which now the counterfeits proliferates. We also have a challenge in terms of harmonized laws within the regional level, because you realize that within the East Africa is only Kenya that greatly impressed the issue of fighting counterfeits. And our neighboring countries, so to say, have a weak links in terms of legal regime that gives the opportunity for these unscrupulous traders to actually accelerate their illicit business. Therefore, we have challenge in terms of regional legal framework, and has not been harmonized. And my colleague can even tell you it has a far-reaching consequences, because some of these neighboring countries does not even adhere to the rules under the Common Market Protocol. And this has also led to major challenge in terms of sharing information, giving support in terms of combating and enforcement measures. Those are some of the challenges I know. And to be very honest, again, we also have challenge with the multinational trade, multinational brand owners, these big brand owners. They sort to say that when very few of the items are seized, some of them seems not to show interest. And they say, look, those products are very few. We don't have a valuable market structure in Kenya. Therefore, value for money in terms of investigation. And you know, when there's no complainant in the court, you know, the threshold for conviction is very high. Therefore, we also get legal challenge in terms of threshold required when you don't have a complainant on board.
So it's a main challenge. Abdurrahman, does technology helps play in combating counterfeit products?
Technology, yes, it is. As I said earlier, the usage of the shortcuts SMS, which is also a technological, basically, arena of creating awareness to the consumers about the existence of the genuine product, which they can use to differentiate from the counterfeit one. So technology, it plays a role. Similarly, the same technology is also used to perpetrate the vice itself. People use social media pages like Instagram to advertise counterfeit products, which will look a bit genuine from the photo bit of it or from the appearance bit of it. So technologically, it plays a big role. At the same time, it can be used to advance also the basically advance to the perpetration of the same vice itself. When you see the same technology itself, we use, or the manufacturers use, some sophisticated technological gadgets to produce what we call the fake products, which will actually be similar to the original one. Not similar in terms of, you know, effectiveness and efficiency, basically appearance of it. Further on, technology, from the marketing perspective bit of it, I'm just emphasizing on the earlier point of the counterfeit product being marketed across the social media and also websites. Technology, to some extent, it can help in creation of awareness. At the same time, in detecting also the fake product. Like we have gadgets here. It's because of, you know, the help of technology that we have such gadgets to detect the fake products we have in our markets. So to conclude, technology plays a big role. At the same time, it can also be used in the other ways.
Manufacturers are being blamed to be involved in counterfeit production products. Do you agree with that, Mr. Joseph?
We must say that you know, any product has to be produced by somebody. But there is what we call illicit manufacturers, people who want to circumvent the laid down procedures of manufacturing a certain product. Our members adhere to good manufacturing practices that lead to genuine products. They do a lot of research and development, but these other counterfeiters, since they are riding on somebody's market share, they can even use the backyards to just produce a product that is not adhering to the laid down good manufacturing practices. So it's not genuine manufacturers who produce counterfeit products. These are people who are driven by greed, and they want high returns on a very low investment.
Thank you, Sana. Thank you so much for coming, all of you. But before we finish up, Joseph, I want you to put it to practice. We have, you said this is money detecting fake. So I want you to do your magic and identify the fake. I think it's original. This is from my producer Isam Tama. Pesa zake amezileta tuweze kuzikagua. So I want you to show us how it works.
Yes, first of all, I would like to commend the government because it's the government has created a lot of awareness on the new currency, on the futures that people need to familiarize ourselves with. But protecting ourselves is not harm, because for example, we have right now mobile money transfers and mobile money withdraws through our M-Pesa and Airtel Money, among others. But we know the banks, the banking ATMs are safe, very safe. But then what do we do to safeguard that whatever that is being issued at our various outlets in terms of M-Pesa or Airtel Money vendors?
Yeah, we've seen even fake money.
Yes.
In
so
the new currency. So
so the vendors can go ahead and purchase this counterfeit detector pen. It has, there are two versions. There's one with UV light and there's one without UV light. So the one without UV light, you can just tick on the money, and it shows that if
we can take an
mark
example
remains
of this
yellow, it passes. If it doesn't, then it turns
case
black.
That is fake.
So you see it,
counterfeit are here.
Yes. So you see it remains yellow. If you bring a normal paper, this will turn black. This will just turn black. If you just bring a normal paper, it will just turn black. But you see it's yellow, so it's very genuine.
I think show them.
Yes.
Then it turned yellow.
Yeah, it's yellow, and you can see this mark. Yes, yellow, it's genuine. Then the other thing is you can use the UV light to just come on the notes. Let's say I'm a vendor and I'm M-Pesa vendor, for example. When I am exchanging money, I make sure that my customers have this genuine money. And if somebody is depositing, you just come with this and then you just do like this. And you see that this is 500, you can see invisible marks. This light helps you to see the invisible. You see 500, 500.
I think can he stand here and show us?
Yes.
I think you can stand in front here and show us and face that camera.
Yeah. Now, since this is the money, this is the UV light, you can just do like this, and then you can see the invisible marks within this, and therefore we have to also do a lot of initiative as to assist our society, because we know counterfeiters are everywhere. We have been experiencing this. So this is just a way of ensuring that you go ahead to ensure that you beat the counterfeiter, or in terms of money. So these pens are available in the market, but at a certain cost. But then for purposes of enforcement, these things, these pens, counterfeit detector pens, they can be purchased by the law enforcement agencies so that they save the society who cannot be able to afford this pen.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Shukran sana, Abdurrahman. Thank you so much, Ibrahim, for coming. It is a very important topic, and I think it needs more and more awareness. Thank you so much. Na mtazamaji, najua umeweza kujifunza moja au lingine. Mimi nimeweza kujua kwamba naweza kujua pesa ni ghushi au si ghushi. Kutoka kwangu nakwambia maasalamu. Kesho kutana na Mariam Wacharo kwa Stay Healthy, ambapo wataweza kuangazia masuala mbali ya afya. Pia nachukua hii fursa ya kuweza kushukuru the super producer Isam Tama na Muhammad Otoyo akiongoza watu walioko nyuma ya kamera, na Saida na Gitonga, na bila kumsahau watu wa social media ambao anatungangania kila siku. Sadik, shukran sana kwa kuweza kufanikisha kipindi hiki. Naitwa Ibtisam Jamal na hii ni Sabah Show.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.